Good morning. I'm at my usual morning spot, starting my day at my tread desk. I'm walking 2.0 miles per hour. I'm about to take a glucose reading and I will share that with you. I'm going to use two different brands of meters, the Dario glucose meter and the ReliOn Premier compact meter. And I will explain why I am using two different meters as I go along. I'll switch the screen in just a second so that you can watch me take the two readings and watch the how that looks, because not everybody understands how to do it, and I think that seeing is a good way to learn. Watching somebody else do something is a great way to learn. So here we go, I'll switch the screen. Okay, these are the 2 meters I'm going to show you. The ReliOn Premier kit from Walmart that costs 20 bucks, and this is what I recommend people get started with because it has everything you need in it to be able to test yourself 50 times or 50 readings. It's got the meter, a bottle of 50 test strips, a lancing device, and a flimsy little nylon carrying case that will serve the purpose until you figure out if you want a different kind of carrying case. The other thing the other meter I'm going to show you is my Dario meter, and this is also a kit with test strips down here. Under this has end cap, a lancing device under this end cap, and the actual meter is here, accessed through this little slide bar. So that's the actual meter for the Dario. So I will stick that back in, lock it in, and I'll show you how it looks to use the ReliOn Premier, since this is what I recommend that people get started with, because it's 20 bucks, and if you're not going to keep testing glucose after initially playing around with it, there's no sense in spending $200 to get the Dario annual unlimited test strip kit thing. So here we go with the ReliOn. I told you it has a little nylon zippered carrying case, so everything can go inside of that when you're not using it. The meter is here. The lancing device is here, and there will be a pack of lancets in here. I've already opened these and put a lancet in the lancing device. And then here is the tube of 50 test strips. And then there's all kinds of paperwork or literature things in here that I'm just going to set aside. That's not really important at this point. So to test with the ReliOn, you need to have one of the needles inside of the lancing device, and you do that by pulling off the white end cap. It just kind of lifts off. It does come with a clear end cap, but I like the opaque so I don't have to see the needle. The clear cap would also fit on here, but you see the needle. And I'll pull out this needle I've already used to show what that looks like. Throw that in the trash and put in a fresh needle. So this is the fresh lancet, that's what that's called. It just slides into the lancing device, and I push it down in with my fingernail. And then I'm going to kind of twist off the round end cap. You just break the joint on it by turning it and lifting it off, and there is the needle exposed. I don't know if you can see it here, but anyway, there's the little needle exposed. I'm going to put the end cap, just snap it back on. This does have a dial to it, so you click 7 clicks, and that just determines the depth of the needle stick that you'll get. You'll see graduated lines to show you the difference between the lowest and the highest. I'm going to set it to the middle, so I know that it has 7 clicks. I'm going to go to 4. I was on 1, I'm going to 2, 3, 4. And now I'm ready to go ahead and be able to pull back on the end. That cocks the needle so it's ready to go. And it's the little white button here, not the longer one, but the little white button here that actually snaps it, and you can hear it. So pull it back, snap, pull it back, snap. So this is all set up and ready to go, but before I snap myself, draw blood, I'm gonna get out the test strips, and I'm going to pull out 3 of them, because I know from my 3 years of experience that I'm gonna get a different reading pretty much every time I use one of these, stick one of these pipette ends into the drop of blood. You'll see for yourself here in a second. Okay, so the test strip on the end, which probably you can't read, it says insert on the end of the test strip, insert. And that just goes into the end of the ReliOn meter. And I hear a little beep when I stick it in, and it will flash an icon showing a drop of blood. That means it's ready to read, and I will go ahead and draw blood. So I'm going to use my 6 ring finger today. Today's December 6th, and left hand, left, is the even hand, and right hand, RAGHT, 5 letters, odd number. I use my right hand on odd number days. So 6th of December, 0, 2, 4, 6. That's how that works. On the 8th, I'll use that finger. 1, 3, 5, wait a minute, didn't do that right. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So that covers the 0 through 9 ends of the digit days. I'm going to put this back in to make sure it stays flashing. Okay, now I'm going to draw blood, pull back the cocking device, go off to the side of my finger, not the end tip where it's more sensitive, but onto the side, either side, kind of the fatty pad side. Some people test on their arm, but I've never done that. I just use my fingers and use the little white button here. I'm going to push that, snap. That will raise just a little drop of blood, which is what I want. And now I'm going to stick the pipette end of the test strip into the drop of blood. I'm not trying to scoop it up. I'm just sticking it into the matte little hillock of blood. And it will count down for me, and it will tell me that I have a reading of 100 right now. So I'm going to drop that into the trash can, stick in a new test strip. I am going to wipe away this drop of blood, get a new drop raised. I don't have to stick again. I can just get another drop, stick the pipette end into the drop of blood. It's counting down, and now it tells me 96. So I have a 4-digit spread from 100 to 96. Wipe that away, take and put a new test strip in, just raise a little more blood out of the same finger that I've already poked. I don't have to poke again, and stick the tip of the test strip, the pipette end, into the drop of blood. It counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 102. So there you see I got 3 numbers. I had 100, 96, 102. Now, if I can't remember, which I'm feeling a little not positive I got the right numbers, I just push this black button here and it will go back and it will give me my readings. The first reading I took was 102. Sorry if you can't see it on your screen like I can see it on mine. Push it again. The second reading was 96. And push it again. The third reading was 100. 102, 96, 100. So I have pretty high confidence that my blood sugar is around, 100. If I want to be in favor of, if I want to choose the most favorable number, I'll say it's 96. No blood sugar glucose police is going to come and check me and penalize me for choosing a 96 in my favor. So I am going to, I don't have to turn it off, or let's see if it does turn off if I do that. No, it gives me a fourth number. So I'm just going to, it'll turn itself off. I'm going to stick it in the case now, which is what I would do if I actually use this meter as my normal meter all the time. And those are the three pieces I have to test: a lancing device, a meter, and test strips. Now, the reason I send people to Walmart to get this ReliOn kit is because it's 20 bucks. Everything's here that you need, and if you're buying test strips, it's one of the least expensive test strips available. This is a box of 100 test strips. It actually has two bottles in it, 2 bottles of 50. So these test strips, the ReliOn brand test strips, whether it's the Premier or one of their other meters, they have different meters. I like the all-in-one box to send people to for 20 bucks. But this buying more test strips, this costs $18. I rounded up, it costs $18, and that means that it's 18 cents a test strip. So anyway, that's what I send people to that are just getting started. But people that decide they are going to keep testing, I suggest that they get the Dario blood glucose meter, because this is an annual subscription to have this, $200 a year, unlimited test strips. I save money by using this $200 one versus testing as much as I want with the ReliOn. So anyway, I'll show you how this one works. I'm going to change the lighting here. I hope this cap is supposed to show up as orange. Okay, so this is also a meter kit. Everything you need is right here. The end caps cover up the test strips, the lancing device, and on the side where this orange slide button is, that releases the actual meter. It pops up and comes out, and it looks like a Lego piece. And it has different ends for an iPhone. This is the iPhone version, or I can use it in my iPad. The Android has a different end piece. So I've popped out the meter, and normally I would test on my phone, but my phone is videoing. So I'm going to bring over my iPad and stick the meter into my iPad. Let me show you how that looks. So I've stuck it in here, and my Dario app already was open, so it went to the screen. Here, let me go back to my home screen where all my apps are accessed, and so I can click. Let me pull out the meter. I can click on the Dario app, and it opens up the screen. It tells me plug in your Dario glucose meter. So this little thing is the meter. I put that in, and then it says insert a new strip. So I access my strips at the white end cap, pull that off, Normally I keep the end cap off because I'm accessing it multiple times a day if I'm testing a lot in a day. I flip open this little chamber here, and that's where all of my test strips are. Let me close this and show you that this chamber pops out. You just pull it out. That is actually the test strip container. And Dario sends me test strips as I use them. They show up in foil packets. Well, they show up in a box of, I think, 100. I get 300 at a time, so I get 3 boxes, and there are 4 of these packets, 25 test strips in each box. That's a box of 100, so I get the 3 100 test strips, 3 boxes of 100 test strips in 4 foil packets in a box. So that's where this little container comes from, and it pops in, just snaps into the end of the Dario meter. Okay, I'm going to open it back up so I can get out 3 test strips, because I'm going to get 3 different numbers. That's how glucose testing is. You test one right after another, you're going to get 3 numbers most likely. And it could be a spread of as much as, it's not unusual to have a spread of 10 digits. You saw the spread that I had on the ReliOn. Okay, so it tells me to insert a new test strip. I'm going to put that in the meter, slide that in here. Okay, it's ready. Now it tells me place a drop of blood. So I am going to slide this bar down, and it is ready to snap. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I showed you that the lancet is sitting here. And I use the same lancet. I can use the same kind of lancet in either meter. Most meters use one shape of lancet piece. Okay, so I'm going to snap this again to be able to draw a drop of blood and squeeze that up a little bit, and again just touch the end of the test strip, the pipette end, into the drop of blood. And now it's starting to read. Let's get a tissue. 86. Okay, that's quite a different number from what the ReliOn gave me, but I've had enough experience to know why that is, and I can explain it to you. I'm going to check the box to record that number. I'm going to take another number. So put the test strip in. Again, it tells me place a drop of blood, so I don't have to stab myself again. I just raise the drop of blood, touch the end of the pipette into the drop of blood. It begins reading. Let's see what number we get. It's always a surprise. 89. Okay, that's pretty close. 3 digits within each other, within range. One more though, just to confirm. Raise the drop of blood, stick the pipette into the drop of blood, get my reading. 94. Okay, now I'm going to come back to you, my face on the screen after I record this one. Actually, let me take out the test strip and put the meter totally away. I'm going to close that. That's an ad that Dario sent me. Join Dario. Got the tools you need to succeed. They sell more than just the glucose meter, but that's all I have from them is a glucose meter, so that's all I can speak to. Closing the ad, pulling out the meter, sticking it into the kit, closing it, and I can fully close it if I just put the end cap back on. But like I said, I don't keep the white end cap on for myself. I'm just showing you that that's what the Dario meter kit looks like. I'll set that aside, and I'm going to touch on logbook and show you that this is where the numbers are recorded that I tested. Let's see, it's churning away here. Come on. Sometimes it's slow. Touch logbook again. It's taking longer than I want. So anyway, the screen will appear, but I'm gonna shut this off for right now. That's the Dario keeps track of all your numbers for you if you want. Now I'm gonna come back on the screen myself. Okay, so I did pull up my Dario screen, and the 3 numbers I got were 86, 89, 94. And then I pulled out the ReliOn again just to run through the numbers, and they were 102, 96, and 100. So why this spread of numbers? Well, glucose meters only have to read within a certain percentage of numbers. And when I first got started 3 years ago, yesterday was my 3-year anniversary from finding Marty Kendall's How to Use a Glucose Meter blog post, How to Use a Glucose Meter as Your Fuel Gauge blog post. And I'll put that information in the description of this video so that you can find the things that have been helpful to me, like Marty's blog post about using a glucose meter as your fuel gauge. But I've learned a lot in the 3 years just doing lots of reading and seeking out. And one of the things I learned is that glucose meters have this variance range that they're allowed to have. I think it could be a 15% variance or a 20% variance. I don't remember, but it'll be in the description box because I have that information written down. And I saw that when I would test from the same drop of blood or the same finger stick, I would get 3 different numbers, okay? And meters will read differently too. So when I got my Dario meter, which was about, let's see, I started using Marty's idea of how to use a glucose meter as your fuel gauge on 12/5/18, that December 5/18, and then by March, a friend had showed me about the Dario, and I calculated the cost difference and saw that I was going to save money by spending the $200. So, because it was unlimited test strips and I was blowing through, 3 strips every time I took a reading, because I wanted to have more confidence in my number. And with 3 different numbers almost every time you take a reading, I looked at those 3 numbers from whatever meter I was using and could say within fair reason of where my blood sugar was hanging around. So when I got the Dario though, I started comparing Dario's numbers to ReliOn's numbers, and I saw that I almost always had lower glucose readings according to my Dario. And so what I did was for an entire month, I tested the 2 meters side by side. And then I could look at a month of numbers and see, yeah, my Dario was almost always coming in with lower numbers, which, makes one feel good. Don't we like having lower dress sizes or lower clothing sizes or lower bathroom scale numbers? So that part was a head game, just to say the Dario was in my favor, but the Dario was in my favor because of the cost difference. I was saving money by using the $200 annual subscription with Dario. It was also saving me time because I don't have to run back to Walmart to get a new supply of glucose test strips, which I'm not sure I covered the cost of things on the ReliOn. So the ReliOn kit, that is $20 when you walk into Walmart, and you do have everything you need to use 50 test strips. And then to get more test strips, I was buying a box of 100. So there's two bottles of 50 in here. That rounded up costs $18. Well, that means that it's 18 cents a test strip. And then I will put in the description the price difference that I figured out between using the ReliOn versus using the Dario, if you're going to keep at this practice of using your glucose meter as your fuel gauge to know when your body does need more fuel, or when you've taken in, maybe you've overdone it and you've taken in too much fuel and your body needs some time, a little bit of fasting time to wait to use up some of that glucose. So that is the explanation. I think I've been thorough on it, that different meters will run different numbers for you, and even within a meter it will have different readings with tests. So it's not really important what meter you decide to use. You make your decision what your budget can afford, but stick with a meter. Like, I'd be stupid to go back and forth testing between my Dario and my ReliOn and be confused about the numbers, because I'm getting different numbers from both meters. But I can stick with one meter, and if I'm, you know, as stubborn as I am about wanting to know within, you know, more certainty by taking 3 numbers from that 1 meter each time I test, then I can take those 3 numbers and say, okay, I have pretty high confidence, like on my Dario. The numbers were 94, 89, 86 in reverse order. So I first got an 86, then I got an 89, and then I got a 94. Well, the 2 closest numbers together are the 86 and the 89. And I can write down on my health chart that I keep on myself that my glucose is about 89 right now. So anyway, that's my covering what it looks like to use the Dario for testing or using the ReliOn for testing. If you're new at this, I suggest you go get the ReliOn, because even if you want to buy the $200 annual subscription for the Dario, you're going to wait about a week for it to arrive, I think. But it is wonderful once you have it. If you're using this as a way to monitor your metabolic health, it's going to save you a lot of money over using the ReliOn. But just get started with the ReliOn. You have so much information, health information about yourself at the end of your fingertips. I mean, there's a lot of information there in the blood, and life is in the blood. Holding up my fingers reminds me to share with you that yes, your fingers are going to get sore if you're always testing on the same finger. So I switch around my testing. My left hand, left is 4 letters, even. That's an even number. So I use this hand for the even days of the week. And right hand has 5 letters, that's odd. So I use my right hand for the odd number days. And the numbers go like this: 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Today is December 6th. So I am testing on my 6-digit, my 0, 2, 4, 6. I'm testing on this finger, my ring finger, all day long. And tomorrow, when it's the 7th, I'll be testing over here. I'm not sure there's anything else that a newbie would want to know. So I think I've covered enough in this video. And now I'm going to go back to do more of my morning reading. But I was just in the right mood to share this with y'all, and I urge every adult I know to start educating yourself about your blood glucose behavior. and to see just how healthy you are or are not. And you can use your glucose number to manage your weight, and that's how I got started doing this whole process of testing. But I've learned a lot from just, wanting to get weight off. I've learned a lot about the implications of blood glucose, what it's pointing to for metabolic health, other than just managing one's weight and not turning into a type 2 diabetic, which is diet related. Our glucose is affected by what we choose to eat, when we choose to eat, how much we choose to eat, what combinations of food we choose to eat. And I point people to Marty Kendall of optimizingnutrition.com for his education that he provides. I also point people to his challenge groups that he does. He has been running them on Facebook, but they're about to move to a non-Facebook platform for a little more freedom. So those groups, there's 2 of them. One is called Data-Driven Fasting. That's where I kind of point newbies that are learning about their glucose numbers. And then for people who want to learn more about nutrition, because your glucose is affected by the nutrition you choose to eat or don't eat. He has data-driven macros and data-driven micros classes. And he has lifetime memberships to them both, or you can just sign up for one for a fee. I don't have the fees on the top of my head, but they're not expensive. They're a lot less expensive than having to even go make a doctor's office visit. So anyway, that's all I have to share for right now. Thank you for sticking with me while I stick my fingers.